Hey everybody, welcome back to Sam's Doing Stuff. What am I doing today? Well, this is going to be a quick video with a really simple tip on how to fix a hole in the drywall, specifically where you want to hang something. So originally, this towel rack was hung right here, and you can see the hole. It's just torn out, and there's really not anything left to attach this to anyway. On that note, in my humble opinion, drywall is not structural, and it should not be used to hang anything that there's going to be some pulling on or jiggling or moving. It doesn't work right. If you're building a bathroom and you know there's going to be a towel hanger, you know there's going to be toilet paper hanger, all sorts of things, put a piece of wood behind it. It's that simple. Anyway, there's no wood behind this, but we're going to fix that. So the first thing you want to do is just very carefully clean out the hole. There's a lot of damaged material here, so you want to just work at it a little bit and get that damaged material out of the way. So now that your hole is cleaned out, we want to get a measurement. And I need the width of this. Looks like I can get away with about 7/8 because I'm going to cut a piece of plywood to fit in there. Now, what you need to know about this piece of plywood is it obviously can't be wider than the hole. I'm going to have it span the hole from here to here because the way this attaches is just like this, up and down. Your piece of plywood can be just about as long within reason as you want. You're going to be inserting this plywood through the hole and up. So aside from the drywall on the other side of the wall, there's nothing in here that's going to interfere. So I want to make sure it's good long enough so that when I put it up in the hole, it covers top to bottom. Okay, I've cut our piece of scrap plywood here. This is 1/2 inch thick. It doesn't have to be 1/2 inch thick. You can do 1/4 inch. This is what I had lying around. So whatever scrap plywood you have. Now I cut this and made sure that it will fit in the hole, just like that, no problem. And now I want to hold this up here and I want to make a mark just shy of where the edge of that hole is going to be. And I'm going to put a screw in it. These are just standard drywall screws. So I drove that screw in just enough, but didn't go all the way through. This is just a handle. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to hold this in place with that screw lined up with the bottom of the hole and try and hold it pretty vertical, pretty plumb. And you're going to just trace around it very lightly with a pencil. Mainly important for the top part, but just trace around it, just like that. So we've got kind of an outline. We know where the top and bottom of this are going to be. Okay, now the fun part, we're going to put it in. Slide it up in. You're using that screw as a handle. Make sure it stays vertical and get it in place. Now, take your hammer and just hook over it like that and hold it like that. You can even let go of it. It should be all right. Now, we're going to go as high as we can up here where you can still see the outline. We're going to hold this in place with the hammer pretty firmly. Don't damage the wall. And we're going to drive a screw into that plywood. And you want to sink that screw in just enough that it goes beyond the surface of the drywall. A little bit more. A little tiny bit more. Yeah, that screw needs to be countersunk. Just enough that you can put a slight thin layer of drywall patch over it. Now we're going to take our third screw and we're going to drive it into the bottom just exactly the same way. Make sure it's countersunk. A little bit more. That's good. And now we can remove the screw we used as a handle. There you go. Now that all that's done, I mean, we have a good solid piece of wood to attach our towel rack or towel hanger to, and we know that this is never going to happen again. So let's putty it up. Take some thin set drywall compound, and we're going to fill that hole. Slop it in there. I am not an artiste with drywall compound, I'll tell you that. But I know one thing, you need to leave it thick and then sand it off. So we're going to do just that. Leave it good and thick just like that. And we're going to come back in about 24 hours, sand it, and put another layer on. Okay, we're back, and my drywall patch is thoroughly dried. I would mention that I used 3 coats to make this filled. It shrinks, you know, drywall patch shrinks. So it took me 3 coats and nice sanding. I think I did a pretty nice job. You probably can't even see on camera where it is, but it's right here. So the next thing I'm going to do, because I still have a faint outline of where my pencil marks are that mark where that piece of plywood is behind the wall, I'm going to take a level and I'm going to put a vertical line, perfectly level, right where that middle of that piece of plywood is. Then I'm going to take our little mounting piece and I'm going to mark the holes where I want the screws to be. That way I know that those screws are going to go into that piece of plywood that's behind there. The reason I'm doing this now is because when I paint, I'm not going to know where any of this is. So now that we have our holes marked, we're going to go ahead and pre-drill just a couple of pilot holes. And I could really feel that piece of plywood back there, so I know I'm hitting it. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and put a coat of paint over that, which will not cover up those holes I just drilled. They'll still be there. You'll be able to see them after I put some paint on, and we'll be ready to mount our towel rack. Okay, paint's all dry. I can still see the 2 holes that I pre-drilled. We're going to hold our bracket up. Just start the screws. Boy, that is so tight. That's going to be strong. And there you go. No amount of pulling is going to pull that off the wall. That is solid, you know? And it's not the point that if you do this originally just into drywall using those anchors that they come with, these little things, you know, it's probably going to hold initially, but over time, people grabbing it and wiping their hands on it, it's going to get more and more loose, and it's going to have the exact same situation we had. You're going to have a big hole in the wall. So if you absolutely must use drywall anchors and you don't have anything behind and you don't want to do what I just did, I would at least use something like this. This goes through the drywall and it draws the screw in, and it just makes an absolutely solid hold, okay? And that's, use a proper drywall anchor rather than the little pieces that they give you with the kits. They're always just these little things, and they're not worth much. So anyway, this is solid. This is never going anywhere. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time when I am doing more stuff.